Bring him to this bike.
Okay, my friend, you're a very lucky guy. You know, we kind people, okay?
Okay.
We are not like your police that do not give a shit. We care about you, Brian. You listen to us.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
you do one
you
simple
know,
thing, okay?
I mean,
You
I
get
don't want to
on bike,
die.
You leave.
Ideally.
And that's it. You get on bike, you leave. Have a nice day, okay?
Change radio.
Wait.
Information we
You haven't-
appreciate, but probably not.
I mean, what kind of accountability do you want?
Let's go.
Understand that if I just say that, they're not going to hear anything.
It should be pretty clear, Brian.
I
It should
made
be
it
very,
pretty
very
fucking clear with what I said last.
Pretty
Brian. Stop
fucking
backing
clear.
down.
Okay.
Stop playing.
All right. Do you have a lockpick?
No. Have fun getting down, bitch.
Okay.
Don't give him one. Come
I mean,
on.
I could just. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, the problem is nothing's going to come out of that. And the reason nothing's going to come out of it. So, what it boils down to is the following. First off, let me correct some things. Because, you know, understand that there's a lot of viewers that don't actually know how the rules work on the server. There's nothing preventing a police officer from suspecting who someone is behind a mask. By the way, and the reason I'm clearing this up is because there's a lot of like misconceptions from casual viewers, from some players too, and then the wrong information passes around. You can always 100% suspect someone is behind a mask. You can come to a conclusion as a character who that individual is. What you cannot do, for example, to make it more clear, is while Brian knows like with pretty high certainty that's the Chang gang, he would not be able to, for example, go and try to go to a DA and be like, yo, the Chang gang just kidnapped me and the following took place. That's like a very important distinction. And the reason I even bring that up is because we had some dumb people saying that that was like OOC meta and shit like that, which is pretty straight up brain dead. Do you guys understand the difference? Give me a 1, or if you do, give me a 2 if you don't. We won't go dive too much. As to the message being delivered, now here's something you have to understand is that fundamentally, based on how the server works, cops do not get in trouble for my guess is, okay, let me start with my OOC. Oh shit. And before we die and we have to forget everything. One, that now bear in mind, this is not how it should be or whatever. This is just fundamentally how it is based on how things work on the server today, regardless of how people feel it should work and shouldn't work. Understand there's a distinction. Obviously in role play, should a character feel like a cop should have consequences, like for doing something they shouldn't have done? For example, shooting somebody that was unarmed. Yeah. That makes perfect roleplay sense. The thing is accountability in relation to, let's say, and we'll use the example of Friday. I think an officer, I'm not going to use names. I don't want you guys to use names either because, you know, dumbasses in chat. Dumbasses do dumbass things, right? That's why we're not going to use the names. But an officer unintentionally, and very obviously unintentionally, shot someone that was not a suspect, right? And that may have contributed to some things going down. The thing is, like, cops are gonna accidentally shoot a hostage and whatever. That shit's gonna happen every so often. Yeah, like Reddit Papegas, exactly. Obviously, not all Reddit is bad, but you know, the drama mongers, the ones who are not interested in any other player other than the characters that they're interested in, personally. It just isn't something like that. Kind of accountability isn't there because it would tear the entire police department apart. It would bog down the entire system. Having a functioning police department goes way beyond, even as a cadet, it's fucking blatantly obvious. There's more to it than just like, you know, equip a couple people with a whitelist, give them some guns and set them loose. If people started getting suspended, started getting like full-on punishments, you would literally log into the server and there'd be like 3 cops on. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's issues in the police department, which I'm also aware of, and I think those issues have been consistently worked on. I think there is a unrealistic expectation by those who've probably never worked a real-life job before. I'm talking about viewers who, and I say real-life job because that's probably the closest thing to reality I can relate to. Where like it's like, oh yeah, running an organization is easy, like logistics are easy, blah 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 is easy. So in there, like in that viewer's mentality, like things are so easy because they're like imagining it being easy, when in reality they don't have any experience in the real world to actually come to a conclusion as to how much effort it takes out of character, off stream, etc. And part of those logistics include the HR aspect of things, right? Making sure that the player base who is playing the cops are happy and motivated and whatnot, because who the fuck wants to write paperwork? Or like, who wants to, like, you know, there's a like learn, you know, because like if you and there's a reason why the police department on NoPixel is leagues better than the police departments on a lot of these like just open random servers, because on those random servers, and you've seen me play on them, chat, like it's literally brain dead. Like there's nothing that, it's literally so dumb. Yeah, it's anarchy. Exactly, it's anarchy as fuck. So there's like a rhyme and reason for why some of these things exist. Yeah, it's just like a bunch of 12-year-olds with weapons, like, that know a couple 10 codes. Family RP had a really good police system, actually. I don't know what the state of Family RP is anyways. I don't know why Family RP gets brought up at this day and age. No, there's no rationale to it. This is more of a call of like understanding that there's no, I'm not rationale. I do think that there's a lot of gaps. Like, for example, like, I don't know what happened in the negotiations. Should a negotiation have taken place? Maybe. And maybe that's something that can be visited. But, you know, I would also argue the point that, no, the PD is not feared, dude. Like, not where it used to be 6 months ago. Read the dono, B. Yeah. if there's something you guys like desperately want to read, you're gonna have to send a dono. Chat's way too fast. Yo, Big Cat, thank you for the 500 biddies. Why can't they have an internal affairs like how they have with the DOJ? DOJ is busted as fuck. First off, wait, is this not the burger shop? Don't. It's getting better. It's getting better, especially with the addition of, like, for example, Hobbit Trash's character and becoming a judge and, like, you know, the new DAs and shit like that. But, like, just consider what you're saying for a moment. Like, there's so, like, first off, I think I was a little too extreme in that statement. It's not busted, but it's not efficient. And there's a lot of improvement. That imagine running an internal affairs. Like, understand that asking for an internal affairs is literally saying, like, I don't even know what that would be, to be honest. But see, the thing is, now we're diving into, like, OOC shit. Like, hardcore. Like, make another department for what exactly? For the desire of how many individuals?
Not great.
Yeah, what here?
Who would run it? Who's gonna run that organization?
Right here was the
What would it yield? Like, that's not exactly. It's an unrealistic expectation that is ignorant to what is required to have a functioning PD, and that's kind of the bottom line. Also understand that just because you think something doesn't mean you have any real insight as to what's going on in the server. Yo, Jerry, thank you for the 333. Cops should never be feared. They should be respected. And with the amount of Papega and fucking around in the PD, they'll never get it. There's the server is full of Papega. That guy, Alex, thank you for the 2 months, my dude. Scotty with the 420. Appreciate you. Kids be acting like mass organization SOPs. Just show up out of thin air. Yeah, one of the most Omega Law thing is when you hear someone say, that said, I don't think there's anything. Let me finish what I was saying to Big Cat. Big Cat, I don't think you're wrong in that it would be cool to have an internal affairs. But the thing is, like, the problem with it is internal affairs would never come out of an RP situation like this, right? Internal affairs would have to be something that is OOC believed to be something we want to add as a community. And it would require somebody who's willing to do the paperwork in order to go through that and have the that's a huge effort.
Do you think the server would be better with longer jail times like 6+ months ago and people actually feared going to jail? You just proved the point, though. You can't give cops immunity just because they are needed, which is what you said. Anyone investigating cops would break up their unity. No reason the cops should be able to shoot innocents of daily and no trouble. Not naming names.
I don't think innocents shoot anyone daily. I would disagree on that. Not that I've seen. See, the thing is, we got to weave through, like, the exaggerations as well. Fluffy Bear, thank you. Big Cat, did you understand what I was saying, by the way? I'm down for, like, a retort to it, but, like, over-exaggerating Andy's, yeah, that's part of it, too. The, you know what I mean? You're still missing RP? Listen, dude, I'm chilling right now. This is more important to the immediate roleplay. Because it's more important because of the fact that We just got done with a pretty major RP thing, and I think tempers are heated. And the viewer base is a part of the community, whether we like it or not. And educating that, the viewer base is valuable. It's why we need transparent no pixel meetings. And enough of this closed door shit. Shut the server down, have the community meeting so that the viewers can hear, because there's a lot of ignorance amongst the viewer base. And that includes my community too. Like, my community is ignorant in its own right. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that as more like, let's be real. Most people don't know what happens behind the scenes, right? And when the ignorance is able to flourish based on very little bits of facts that are available, and then you mix that with the over dramatic nature of some individuals who watch these streams, and the fucking conspiracy theorists and all the other, muck that we all goddamn know exists, because you see it all the time on Reddit. You end up with like a really sour environment. Yeah, it sours it for everybody. I think that would help alleviate it. I'm at least at that point. Now, I don't think internal investigations is needed.
When you are a cop, you do not open up when you have a chance of hitting someone as an innocent. This police force opens up fire regardless of the people around or in front of them. But regardless of the way of action starts, the whole idea is to role play.
I agree. It is to role play. The thing is, though, sometimes certain things are done that are outside the realm of allowance, and the difficulty becomes, and you need to understand that, like, you have to understand when Brian does things, there's shit that I'm able to get away with, chat, that other cops are not able to get away with, for a number of reasons that I'm sure you're aware of, right? So just because I'm able to facilitate some things, know that there's gonna be those cops that are gonna.
This situation could have been prevented if the cop that made the mistake would have been put on trial. Not saying he got proven guilty, but it would have brought more RP to all parties.
It would have brought more role play.
Nobody is above the law.
Let me ask a question to that. Actually, let me pause these alerts for a second. Let me ask you a follow-up question, because I think that's a valid point. That, okay, so if, let's say a cop, I'm assuming you mean the incident from Friday. And first off, that's a discussion for the no pixel streamers, not for the viewers, right? But understand that if a cop, if we go down the route of saying, okay, cops are now going to be removed, suspended, and and prevent them from playing that character effectively, right? Are we also open to actually going ahead with full-on 3-day holds as well? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that those are the only two options, but know that it's a balancing act. And you don't have to say yes or no. This is not a question to answer. This is something that you want to think about yourself personally, right? because the server is not that serious. We're kind of a mix of two worlds, and we have to forego certain things in order to allow the world to continue functioning, even though it'd be nice to role play certain scenarios. And it goes back to, it's a dangerous route to start saying, let's start ripping certain cops, because you know what would happen? What I think would happen is we'd end up in a scenario where cops are literally just in court all day. But let's move on with that. I think it's a valid enough, like, it should be brought up during a community meeting, and it never has. I'll tell you that much. At least not to the point where someone has said this is a huge, serious concern. Let's talk about that and make sure it happens, because it's that big of a deal. And if it has, it's been backed off on pretty quickly. Why not bring it up? Because you're talking to someone who doesn't give a shit. I ain't bringing that shit up, dog. Bro, I played on like fucking like hardcore like SOE. I played on hardcore family RP. I've role played a River Gone on goddamn hardcore PvP Rust. I can role play wherever. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Those who actually feel like it's a big deal, that's on them. I don't fight other people's battles, homie. Like, unless like I feel like I need to, which I have done multiple times. But that's like one of those things that, you know, I ain't got time for that shit. Yo, Mo, thank you for the 5 spot, man. I think most people forget that the incident from Friday falls under qualified immunity legally. Falls under qualified immunity. True. That's a fair point. See, the thing is, and that's what I'm saying, like, it's you know, still driving the bike. Hell yeah, dude. I think a good example of that would be trying to get is, like you said earlier, when a crim perma is someone is taken serious, but when and know it was a shitlord situation. So I think, like, if let's say a cop, okay, let's break it down to this. I think if a cop were to shoot a civilian, this is just my opinion. If a cop shot a civ, and that civ wasn't a perma character, and that character perma'd, I definitely think that, like, that should be looked into. But, like, injuring someone, like, you know, and just because it's my opinion doesn't mean that's, you know, Rip Taco's dad. Yeah, well, I got no idea, chat. I got no idea. I got no idea about that situation. Could you talk about why I'm not talking about someone else's RP? But thank you for the 10 spot. It's not my place. Let's get back in.